channeling grandmothers a long time ago, and actually started publicly channeling in 1990, and channeled them up until 2009 when Kashima, who is what humanity calls, I guess, an ancient Sasquatch. He is he's a teacher. He also is a liaison between many planets, many of the different star nations. Um, and I call him grandfather. I channel him occasionally. Now he comes through when he so chooses, when the ancestor grandmothers et al. Are uh, speaking through me. I also am connected to different star people, and there is one that will speak through me. Her name is Circe. I don't think you can see her. She's up there in a painting up on top. Um, she is what's called a moon water person. And what they do is travel from planet to moons. And their primary function was to help birth planets and moons through the water because they work with the water. There are some of them that are here now on the earth that are working with the waters. And she has been teaching me several of the things that they do, and taking me to some interesting places in the water. And so that's where I'm at now. What's it going to be next week? I guess. I
Yeah,
guess that's what
we'll
it'll
be
be.
streaming the next season soon of our less new adventures.
So that's where I'm at. I For those years that I didn't actually channel the grandmothers publicly in the way that I'm doing now, they were still speaking through me. Um, and But for those years, I was speaking about the Sasquatch people, um, and the general public of those who were interested in that, sharing I've had lifelong experiences with them from the age of 6. And so I was asked to share um, what I had experienced through my life. And so I always say I felt like I was dropped down in amongst the Philistines because there was a whole lot of people didn't like what I was saying about how they were, their abilities, and different things. And things have changed greatly on that front. And so I come around full circle again, and the grandmothers basically, and Ray was used as well, uh, to get that message, well, directly to me, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, and they
And
called a personal session for me. Oh my gosh, I was so thrilled and I was just vibrating and I had just had so much of their love coming through me. I was just overwhelmed and crying. It was amazing. And thank you again for that.
yeah,
Ancestor grandmothers at all and Arla.
thank you, for
I'm a facilitator.
being and that may be why they like you so much.
Christine, help
Yes,
yourself if you wanna. If we're a hard group to butt in on, but please try your best.
do it. I'll jump in.
But if you don't mute, we're just going to keep on talking. So you're muted right now. So we're all practicing our lip reading.
Sorry, my dog was barking, so I muted myself. I hope he's quiet
Maybe
now.
he had something to say.
He always has something to say. Uh, so this is all new for me to be channeling energy through guided meditations that I'm doing for people. And it's a lot when it comes through. But my question for you guys is, did it take a long time for you to figure out who it was that was coming forward and speaking from you? Like, how did you get such clarity on, like, this is so and so and this is the name of so and so? Like, I don't really have any need to know what energy it is I'm channeling, 'cause I believe it's my higher self or my future self that's just guiding me all day long, constantly. It's sometimes it's like, okay, just be quiet. I need to just rest. And I'm doing a lot of sleeping lately since the weekend away. I've been doing a lot of
Right.
sleeping. It's and I'm finding that this past week since being back, and I'll talk about this with the group this tomorrow night, I think it is. Um, when I came back to work this week, I've had no problem sharing my experience with people. They're strangers. Like these are new clients that I'm giving a pedicure on that I'm like picturing light coming through the tips of my fingers going into their feet with their foot massage. And I see them just sit back and I can just feel I'm so connected. And sometimes it's getting a little scary for me because there's not a lot of people that I can really share the intensity that this is getting to because except my son. I can talk to him, but he lives in Maine and I don't want to bother him. But I know with my mom, it freaks her out, but I'm trying to tell her a little. I need to share it. It's like I need to share it because it's so much for me to handle within my own being, my own body. It's just, it just amazes me when you guys know like who it is you're channeling and what energy it is, and it just that just fascinates me. And I don't really see myself going to that level, but yet at the rate that I'm going, and if I continue doing the daily work, the daily grounding, the daily mental, stay on my path, shine my light, just shine it. I don't care who's around me and just keep shining it. Then I just experience these magical things every day with just people's energy. It's just what I'm putting out is what I'm getting back. And it's just,
Christine, that's such a good question.
Yep. And we're going to let you know a little secret. All the names are made up.
what?
None of those beings actually have names.
Really?
Outside of the numbers and
Well,
labels mean
this energy,
diddly outside of the physical world because they all recognize everybody by their frequency. They know everything about every being just by sensing their frequency.
God.
So I mean, they give us names for our convenience, mostly, I think, because it shuts us up. Because if we have a name, we're like, okay, I have that. I can handle that. And
Right.
as far as the energy, it's just like when you change channels, hey, our radio stations, this is a rock station, this is a jazz station, this is, it's talk
Right.
radio. That's
Well,
the
like,
way I look at it.
when I
But
get ready to do a guided meditation, I will literally like go inside my head and I say to myself or my whoever that I'm stepping aside. I'm stepping to the left and I'm going to allow this energy to come through my body, allow myself to be the conduit that I'm meant to be for whoever I'm going to encounter today.
excellent.
Let me say or do whatever that this person might need from me, even if it's just a tiny smile. Then I'm doing my job. But like I had to take that pressure off myself. Like I need to heal these people. I need to help these people because it was just so much pressure on me that I was really starting to go down. Like I just don't know if I can handle it. But the more I'm turning my thoughts around with the help of Brian's work and his meditations and just other stuff that's helping me. And literally like connecting with all the people on that weekend was such a gift for me in so many ways, shapes, and forms. It was just
I thought that you were channeling Christine when we said that prayer for Brian
I
around
know,
the.
I
I
was.
mean, tell him that we were
Yeah,
praying for him. Thanks for
she's been channeling just as you have been channeling, but you haven't at the beginning. You didn't realize
It's
it.
taken me a long time to accept it, that that's what I'm really doing. Like I just kept not thinking that I was worthy enough to channel, or that I didn't know enough yet to channel, or I didn't, until finally it was just I get these messages from my higher self
There's
or my future self saying like, no, you got it. You just have to relax your body, allow the energy to the universe, whatever it is, to just work itself through me. And then everything's calm. I'm quiet. I'm in the present moment. I'm looking at the leaves, the birds. Like I'm noticing everything. And it's just like, oh, this is what I need to teach people to do.
And at the very beginning, when you were saying, that you got scared when you felt, I instantly got the message that you are afraid of your own power.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
is incredibly strong, but just go into it. When you get that fear, say, show me why I should be afraid. And I talk too much, so I'm going to let somebody else go.
No, say that. Say what you just said again, because that it resonated with me, but
Yeah,
I didn't.
go in when you feel that fear, go into that. Because that is where you will find where your constrictions are. Because there's a fear belief there that, you know, am I can I really shine
Am I
this
ready?
bright? What is it? And that probably concerns other people who are around you, because you don't want to be that one who is the focal point, or you don't want people to say, oh, well, she's just effing weird.
Right.
but
Right.
but that is what you need to break through, so
Right.
you can throw those safeguards, so you have all of the directions open to you, as opposed to a narrower path which
Right.
constricts.
So that weekend, for me to sit on those benches, fire in front of me, and Anita was sitting next to me to my right, and I literally was like, okay, I just did all this work to do that quantum jump, that quantum leap. And I merged with my future self. I felt it. I felt like I got my wings when we were standing in the circle. It was just like, okay, my future self right now would be guiding all those people, all of these new family members through a meditation right now. So just something came through me and spoke up and said something to Anita, and then mentioned me. Louis would do something with me. And then a part of me started to get a little fear like, oh, like, what if you can't tune in? What if you can't? What if it doesn't come? What if you don't know what to say? How? And then it was like, no, nope. I'm going to step to the left. I'm going to let it come through. And it was beautiful. It was amazing meditation. And then for me, that was just like, oh my God, like I know I can do it. I've done it twice at the spa that I work at now for a group of like 6 people. And so now when I came back from the thing, so now I'm on the schedule at the spa to do guided meditations in this new salt room that they just opened up like a couple weeks ago. So
Wow, that's big energy I just got. Thank you.
nobody's booked yet, but I know it's going to happen, and I do have to
you,
do it with the owner, which is Ray Bork's wife, like the hockey player's wife. They
Awesome.
own this.
Awesome.
Like it's just like I know it's all going to happen if I just get past my fear and just allow it to happen. Because I know that I can help a lot of people when they
yeah.
in that salt room.
You're gonna grow very
meditate.
quickly
Yeah.
beyond the spa. Okay, much
Yes.
quicker. But I want to make a couple of little tiny comments. This idea that we humans have about channeling and it sounds whole like it's a new thing or whatever. That's our true nature. Okay, we're moving into a version of our future self in which that is just innately happening. Okay. And at that stage of the game, nobody's going to tell anybody I'm a channeler because we all are. And we're all plugged in all the time. And whenever you had a brilliant, brilliant idea, whenever you had the brilliant solution to whatever issue you had in your life, believe me, it did not come from the lower mind.
No.
It came up from the higher self. You have been talking to the higher self all along.
Yep, she's been guiding me all along.
All along, absolutely. And is the gatekeeper. Okay, this is for John. Your higher self is your gatekeeper. You and your idea of protecting your space or whatever, you're not the gatekeeper. It's your higher self. You got to trust your higher self. You got to trust who you are. That's what gives you the power. I remember, this is an anecdote from many years ago. I was in the city of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I had a little shop that was, I would do psychic readings and things of that sort and some healings. And somebody shows up to me very flamboyantly dressed. He was a Mexican guy from the downtown area where, more Hispanic people would be. And he was a practicer of what in Spanish is called the Santa Muerte, mean they revere the spirit of death. And that is a power, and they use it, he used it in his practice to give himself psychic powers, and in his practice to give himself the ability to do magic with people, that sort of thing. And I said to myself, why is this guy coming here? And he said, I need to consult with you. And he needed to consult with me because he was afraid of that he was channeling. That energy that he made a connection with, was overwhelming for him. And I said to myself, why does he come here? Because I am not in that business. Nobody knows me to be in that business. Okay. I was actually, if anything else, in a completely different business. I was consider myself at that point, quote, a light worker. At that point. And I was dealing with people just to help. And I said, okay. And then I had to say, why do you come here? And he could never answer. It's like his higher self drove him to find me. And when he asked me, how do I deal with this thing? I said, you forgot that you're the authority over everything you are. You just have to hold that authority. That's all you got to do. That's how you protect yourself. Because when you do that, you're in communion with your higher self. You have no idea of what that higher self is, the immensity of it. That's the one that we were invited in the retreat. Brian wasn't talking about the future self from 200 years from now or 300 years from now. He said, I'm talking about the huge one, the one at the top of the ladder, for lack of a better word. He didn't say it that way. Okay, that's what you're inviting. You're integrating that slowly, because do you realize what that is all about? Okay, that puts you, if you have a concept of God, that puts you at the seat of God. But I'm going to tell you, that puts you right there. You are a creator. You are a creator of universes. That's what it puts you, that higher self. That's exactly what it puts you. So if you align yourself with that, okay, just align yourself. You can't bring all of that in. You in this physical domain that you are, you can't bring all of that in. But it's going to give you everything you need in this domain. Everything you need. It's going to give you all the protection that you need. I have learned so many things the hard way, because I believe what other people were teaching me about. You got to keep this, you got to keep protection, you put salt, you do this, you do that. None of it matters, because the portals are inside of us. Okay? We are the thing that needs to hold the authority. We are the thing that needs to hold the boundaries. They're inside of us. Anyway, I talked too much already. But,
No.
So in the group, everybody asked me, how many times have Mr. Ray asked me, what are you going to channel for the group? You got to channel for the group,
94 so far.
How many times have I done it?
A lot.
Just this way, because when I am here, I am connected to my higher self.
That's it.
Believe me, I'm not thinking, this is what I need to be saying. No, it's just flowing.
Right.
Okay. And it is, and you're completely conscious. I could go and pay attention. If my grandson shows up at the door, I can give attention to my grandson. Okay. For example, and that's where we're moving more and more. I'm not saying that I'm the future version of anything. I'm saying that I'm already, have recognized that is where things need to be, basically.
You are.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give another big context. These are things that are coming to me after the retreat. I got downloads and downloads and downloads. Okay, I lost my voice for 3 days after the retreat. In other words, I spent the whole weekend talk, and Monday morning when I finally, I got up very late, because I had to travel, a bit. Connections were long. There was a delay, all that kind of stuff. I got home at 1:30 in the morning. I had not slept, the night before. When did I go to? When did I get up? At 3:30 to be able to use the bathroom. And so I was up from about, and when did I go to bed the night before? We did a fire, remember, Christine?
Yeah.
And I stayed there with that fire until all the embers went out.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
That was
Alex and I, that's my tradition, how to do the fire. Okay.
Wow.
And John was there nearly, but, a couple of people left, and John very graciously, like a gentleman that he is, he used his light to make sure that they could see, because it was dark. It was really dark.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, for sure. But but Alex and I, we stayed there until those embers. So that was another hour.
Wow.
Or thereabouts. So and then when we got up there, Alex said, well, Brian said we needed to do this meditation, sleep meditation. So I needed to set it up and put the phone so that he could hear it, I could hear it, all that kind of stuff. And so we were paying a little bit of attention to. Anyway, short story. I slept 2 hours, maybe that night. Okay, and the next period when I go to bed, finally at home, and of course, I can't just say, "Honey, I'm home," and I can't tell you anything about what happened. Right? I had to say something. So anyway, go to bed, all of that. When I get up at whatever time it was, I have no recollection, to be honest. I didn't have voice. I had very little voice.
How did you get to the airport, Louis?
How do I what?
How did you get to the airport?
I got to the airport. Jamie was in the. She had her car in there, and she's from Massachusetts, and she took Susan and myself. The old lady that's a painter. Okay,
yes,
she took her and myself. Actually, supposedly, well, Kyle had told me he was going to come back, but he was tired. He had done maybe twice, already, to the airport. So, so Jamie is really like the one that took us to the airport, basically, awesome. Which it was great. Nice. It was great. Travis, was it Travis? I forgot. He said he would take me too. Travis was the guy that was doing the audio visual. Okay.
Travis,
and he wasn't really a retreat participant, but he was. You see what I mean? Because if you're present in that room,
right,
and then all of that, you really were. Okay. And we bonded really, really well. And he bonded with everybody. He was, very affable guy. We all were relating quite a bit of our personal experience, life. It was almost like a little bit of information, and we got we're talking at many levels. We're relating at many levels.
I said to Anita that if we died, that's what it would feel like. That felt like heaven to me.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It really did.
I'm going to say one more thing that has a lot of relevance to me. That came to me. In fact, I told Miles that yesterday. It came to me yesterday morning. The field of consciousness that we are in is love consciousness.
Right.
And we don't understand what that really is, because we think that means, we all feel good and blissful. Love consciousness is trying to teach us to be love. And the teacher is very hard. How could you learn to be love if you're doing things that are not really quite love? So you got to teach with pain, grief, war, hostility, until we make the decisions that's completely misaligned with love. And we can't, and we have to go through all our layers of belief systems that have perpetuated, because there's many ways that is not love enters. Okay. Oh, I belong to this kind of class of people, and we have to be protective of our neighborhood or this. You already have broken, the feel of love consciousness has no divisions of any kind.
Mhm.
You know what unconditional love would require of us? We have layers and layers and layers of conditions. I love you, but I'm tired and I'm going to put attention to you. That would be a simple one. Okay, that doesn't mean that we're going to kill ourselves. It means that we become more conscious of that. And as we do that, everything eases in our life. Has to. Because what is creating the pressure is that we're not complying with love consciousness. We're not. And love consciousness controls everything, including the lessons.
Mhm.
And so I invite people to do their own, digging for themselves and to find that every fear that they have
Mhm.
is based on that. And every boogeyman that has ever been created is based on that. They will disappear as we raise ourselves a little more into love consciousness. They
Mhm.
they start, not disappearing. They soften. And
Mhm.
then we can do what Yusel was saying. You're gonna see the puddle. Oh, that's a big puddle. I shouldn't put my feet in there. I'm gonna ruin not only my shoes. I'm gonna ruin my pants.
Thanks,
Okay.
John.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. So that was a very good
But,
question, John. And
but
John, that was a very good question. We had some really good questions here today.
I have
Basically.
more. But I just, it's too much to go into.
If only we had more sessions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man,
So,
remember.
all right. I'll just get my practice and how I really got into this stuff was through DMT, and it's how I do my communion. But many times when I do it, I see dark entities, and I'm sometimes afraid that of possession, or maybe I'm may sell my soul to the devil, or
Ray, you want to address that?
You get what your beliefs show
I've
you.
been in a
Exactly.
room with Satan
You
before.
have that fear,
Uh,
so it's showing you what you fear. That's
Yeah.
what DMT does. It takes you to the parts that you don't want to look
but
at.
it's not from my head. It's not inside my head. What
It's
I've seen
all
is
your head.
outside. No, it's
It's
No,
not. I swear to
no,
God,
no,
it's not.
no, no.
It's
It's not the
what
head.
I've seen is not from my
It's
head.
not the head.
no.
Let me put it in different person. It's not really the head. It's deep in your subconsciousness. It's deep
I'm not
into.
sure it's even in my
Okay,
subconscious. Is
okay.
what
Let me try to get to it a little bit, John, and play with it afterwards. And your.
Do you mind? Can I hear what you think? What you're thinking? What you think it is?
it's a dark, dark place, and it's not happy. And I feel like we're all stuck in it, and it's inevitable. It's what I see, and I always want to go into it and see something nice and happy, and so I've kind of distanced myself from it, and I don't really do that practice. I still do. I'll probably do it again soon, and when I do, you see, you never know, but it's a concern and a fear of mine that whatever's out there is there's some is scary, and I don't know what that comes from.
Yeah.
There's a saying that comes to mind right now. Um, as within, so without, and it might be a reflection of what you're thinking. We're all in, like your. It might be like what your subconscious is trying to tell you about how you view this. Maya is coming to mind, but it's this. People call it. Oh, what do people call it? Like this is this dream that we're in. This is the dream. They talk about. I don't know. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, and I mean, I have nightmare. Sometimes when I say nightmares is some of my favorite dreams because then I wake up and I'm like, "Whew, all right, I didn't do that," or like, that was just a dream. But
Because fear.
this is different.
This place has fear. Like our physical dimension there's fear here.
Mhm.
Whereas if we're in the, a newborn baby feels no fear because they just came from a place where there is no fear. I listened to Anita, and I was there with her, feeling her energy in the room when she spoke to. I was in the audience, and she had a near-death experience, and she said one of the things that she realized when is as soon as she was out of her body, there was no fear, no fear. And I've tried to imagine what that would be like, and I'm wondering if if maybe you're that's how you're seeing this place, like you're recognizing that fear exists here and we're all trapped, like many people are trapped in that. I wonder. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what came to mind when you said that, but it's
It's just for me, it's like I wonder if other people have struggled with that. Like always wanting to see something good, and then like Jesus or something like that, and usually what I get is like demons or something.
Well, you believe that you have that fear. You already communicated several times, I have this fear. Well, that fear is being manifested. That's what it's showing you. So if you didn't believe you had the fear, then you wouldn't attract any of that. Because you are telling yourself, I'm focusing this feeling back to him so he can see that he has fear in him. And that's where you need to do the work. It's truly a reflection. If you went in and say, hey, because you set it up even before you go in because you're thinking, I hope I don't see anything dark. I hope it's just Jesus and light. But you have that thought that it might be, you have that fear, and that is focused with your DMT experience. Because as you're probably aware, whatever mindset you have going in is going to be accentuated. And your higher self is really working overtime to show you what you need to learn during those experiences because the ego is set aside. It's got free reign to go in and mess with your psyche and subconscious, but it shows you things. And so if you lose that fear, you lose all of the negative connotations with your experience.
All right. I'm gonna go pray on it, guys. I need to go to bed.
Yeah, you need to go.
Yeah.
It's a good
Me
conversation
too.
to continue
Yeah.
to have
And thank you,
at a
Anita.
later time. John,
Yeah.
And thank you,
thank you
Heidi.
for coming.
I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
I love you, man.
yeah.
Love you too. Love you
Thank
all.
you
Bye-bye.
guys.
All
He's
right.
he's
It was
talking
great.
about
Anita.
the Golden Heart retreat. Remember, we're
Yes.
trying to get together tomorrow night to recap
Yes.
a little bit. A few of us, we'll see who
Yeah.
shows up.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And
Bye, Anita.
anyway,
It was nice to meet you, Anita.
Oh, it was nice meeting everyone. Thank you.
we'll
Thank
talk
you.
And
later,
you too,
Anita.
Christine.
Thank you. I had a question to ask John, but I'll wait and ask him tomorrow night. I wanted to know if he put some intentions. My son taught me this to do, like if we do like a cannabis ceremony, whatever, to put, treat it as sacred and put your intentions into it, say it out loud, put your intentions into it to what kind of experience you want to have with this and what you want to, so I wonder if he does that or if he just does the DMT without putting any structure to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was going to ask him a similar question because I'd heard that the environment in which you do this
Yeah.
It's
really
very important. It's
matters.
very
Yeah,
important.
all of it. The
Typical.
environment, the thoughts, the intention,
And somebody is usually there to create a
Yeah.
sacred space to do
Right.
this within so that, but that doesn't mean that you may not have what is called a, a bad trip, but I really, from what I've heard, it's because it's something that that you need to look at.
Yeah. Could it be past life stuff that he's experienced that like flashes or
You can look at it as past life stuff and whatever, but
Was
that's all encapsulated in your subconsciousness,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
basically.
was
And
was this something he was taught as a child or growing up?
Right, yeah.
Um, or is this something that he's come to as he's an adult? I know that the church that I grew up in, and I love that I was able to grow up in that church, but there was always an emphasis on demons and dark and those types of
Right.
things. And when I'm working with someone who has um, come up that way, everything that they view until they can get to that place to where they can release it and set their intentions and feel like they are, like Heidi said, in a sacred space
Right.
because they haven't taken that step outside that I'm protected anyway. My
Mm,
higher self, if I don't shut that down. And he was just talking, I guess, like a lot of people that I grew up with and others that I've worked with that had that
there's
background.
I think there's a component to some teachings early on or something that, and then experiences that happen for
Yeah.
sure. Uh,
He said some things that I heard as I was growing up. I was raised United Pentecostal. And of course, they cast out demons like other churches did. But, one incident that stuck with me for a little while, thank goodness for my grandmother. We were at a church camp and they brought someone, a young man in. Now, this young man had Down syndrome and some other things, but they were looking at him as he was demon possessed. And so they wanted us to view what they were going to do, but they told us don't get too close. If you are not right with God, that demon will jump from him into you. Well, where did I get? On the front row, because I wanted to witness this. And of course, I didn't witness this. I just had this compassion for this person who was, being put in this place. But had it not been for my grandmother that I could say anything to, and my grandfather talk things out for myself, that could have messed with me. That thinking that and when he was talking about that and being in that place and a demon getting in him,
mm,
and that's a scary place for people. And then if they're taught, you've got to live exactly like this and adhere to this, or that can happen.
yeah.
That's scary, to do that. So I just wondered if that was something he had been taught at some time.
Mm,
I
you
love
know,
the same because I had that conversation with somebody today that
mhm.
I never met before, and I told them that they were asking about their house because they bought a house and they haven't been able to sleep comfortably in it for like 3 months. And I'm like, well, there's probably some energetic reason there. If you want to know, you can show up for channeling. And they're like, oh yeah, but that you can have evil stuff come in on that. I'm like, well, you get what you
Yeah,
believe, and I knew I was shutting that conversation down right there.
yeah.
Well,
That's exactly. I've got a young woman I've just started working with. She's opening up to everything, and the Sasquatch people are a big part of that and are trying to help her. But she is still in that space of holding those fears that something bad is going to come to her if she opens up to anything at that point. And she is just this sweet, lovely person, and trying to work through those fears, because fear stops you dead in your tracks.
Well,
Yeah.
You're not
the
going
minute
anywhere if
the
you
minute that
can't.
we have fear, it means that we have the stronger than it is. We definitely have layers of belief systems and traumas associated with them.
Yeah.
And that weakens us completely. Our defense, if you're going to look at it from the perspective of the auric field that we have, is absolutely nilch when we're in a state of fear.
Yeah,
We
it
have no
is.
defense, none whatsoever. Not only that, our mental capacity to deal with the situation is very reduced. Our IQ, reduces itself to near moronic levels the higher that the level of fear is.
Yes.
I mean, and so these are things that are known to people that are in the professional business of psychiatrists and psychologists and so forth. Although they are not very widely spoken of. But I just wanted to make one little comment, and that has to do with the notion that whatever we resist persists. Whatever we deny that it exists, we are giving it a power, and we will have to deal with it. Because what we're choosing to do is not to integrate what that is. That is a part of us if we are feeling it. If we have those kind of emotions, that is very much a part of us. Now, I say that, and then I'm going to say something that's a little in a different domain, and that is that no one should try to venture into the field at large where fear really dwells. It's huge. It is about having a guidance system that basically says, oh, those waters are really deep. That ocean is huge. I'm not going there. I don't need to go there. So we need to have that in mind as well. And finally, the sacredness of connecting with anything, plant spirits, anything that we do. The sacredness is it's a ceremonial thing that we need to do, and there needs to be people that are surrounding, the person that thinks that they just buy, they have the mushroom dose, and I see it. I've been offered that, often in this area when I was involved in different groups. I got this mushroom thing, and I got this, and you're gonna sell it to me, and I'm supposed to do it at home at my will. And how do you know I can do that in an appropriate manner? That's not the way it's supposed to be, you know. If you have done ayahuasca or other, I mean, it's an enterprise. There's healers and there's people that keep the space. There's people that monitor every individual that is in there. They're attended not only during the ceremony, they're attended after the ceremony. Before they actually get in the car to go home, they're still checking on them. They want to know what happened 3 days after. And this space, okay, has been tendered by the energy of the higher selves of the people that are the guardians, because the person may not be capable of doing that. Now, I have seen ceremonies in which there were people that, they had a bad trip, so to speak. Well, it wasn't really, they were crying out of control. Their nervous system couldn't handle what was going on. But there are many reasons that could be. But the people that are there that can attend to it because they are there, they knew how to handle it, and they knew how to get them out of that, and they knew how to help them to begin to, and then they knew that that's a person they need to contact during the weeks to follow. They need to be in touch with that person to help them process that experience. When that was not done, there will be problems. And there were situations that I saw that people have done in a year's time 10, 12 ceremonies. Well, plant ceremonies. That's crazy. Okay, a normal person can't handle that. A very a being that is very focused on the path, may be able to handle it, but they need to, you just can't go to regular life after these ceremonies and pretend that in 3 weeks you're ready for another one. That's crazy. And whoever was allowing them to do that, they were doing it with very bad motivation. You're trying to make a fast buck. It's really what it was all about. That's really dangerous. That's not having any control, basically. Opening the container to anything, basically. You could say that but it's all
That's
inside.
such a,
Yeah,
excuse me, that's
yeah.
such a disrespect of
It's a
these
total
sacred
disrespect.
herbs and plants and things that we have. And when you have that disrespect, the outcome just is hard for anybody. And the ones that I know, and the 13 grandmothers that do work with the different sacred plants, um, they're done, with the most loving care, not only for the person, but that plant that's being used as well. And the disrespecting of those sacred plants is a very hard thing, that happens. And humanity, for a big part, just soaks up whatever. And, that whatever is like the buffet. And like they were saying earlier, you're the one that chooses that. And if you don't have someone to guide you on what to choose, then you're going to get yourself into a place that's hard on you, and not and hard for the plants themselves because of their feelings and their energy and what they purpose to do for us.
I wanted to share, if you don't mind, the one ceremony I've done, which was with peyote, and she spoke to us about, don't take it in fear, take it trusting that this is a beautiful intelligence that knows how to heal. If you need to go outside they called it to get well, not, when actually they said, we're not calling it, we go outside to be sick. They said, you're going outside to get well, if you need to. And everything was centered on the positive. And what else and she talked about how she was very experienced with it. She gave it to her children. She took it during her pregnancies, and she felt that this beautiful plant was helping her children in utero to develop sacred gifts. And so her whole teaching about peyote was just really beautiful. And they watched us and they told us what to expect. And so my experience was very good, and it was very positive, and I faced my ego. They said, set an intention. And of course, what did I pick? My ego. So I was very humbled, in tears, because, but I learned, I learned from that experience that we create everything, and at the time I was like, but they, and she's like, no, you created it. What you did created it. And it took me a while. And then I was like, yeah, what I did, created it. So, and that was my lesson that peyote taught me about my ego. And last thing I'll say is I still feel that that peyote is with me. And
course.
from time to time, I will have experiences where it's still teaching me and still healing me. And, you know, because I also believe in that it can have quantum healing effects way after, because, you know, time isn't really,
Right.
that plant doesn't live in linear time.
No.
That plant medicine does not live in the time that we think of. So it was a
But
beautiful experience.
but in that regard, plant medicines could be a little different than DMT
Mhm.
induced states, because that is it's like an elevator. You know, take me into some other dimensions and whatever it is. So the plant medicine is a teacher. It starts showing you. There's a conversation. It's a conversation that you're having.
Our
Uh,
bodies make DMT.
Hmm.
Did everybody know that?
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you can develop that through meditation
Yeah.
practice. So,
You could actually every night when you go to bed actually have a release of DMT, and
Yeah.
that could help you quite a bit.
Too,
Uh,
as well,
yeah,
to create that experience.
yeah.
yeah. So Heidi, since you're here, and I think Christine would be interested in listening to your story as to how you came into channeling.
Oh, okay. Um, so my guides called me. I actually woke up hearing my name called. So I kind of feel like that was their way of making a connection with me being able to hear about 7 years ago now. So in 2018. And from 2018 for about till 2024, I went through a process of growth and ego and all of that being taught on a daily basis.
Very similar to me.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that. And so in 2024, I had gone to a channel. I was being led to go to all these different gatherings to learn. So I went to a channel panel and saw there's got to be at least 20 channelers there. So I saw so many different kinds of channelers, but the energy that I was taking in and was very intense. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be the weird of the weird in this audience, and I would just let it, do whatever it was going to do. And and it was a way of exploring and figuring out my gifts, because I realized that someone was channeling three beings, and I couldn't see them, but I knew where they were, and I knew when they were each taking turns talking, and I knew that there was one woman and two men, one female and two male. And I was talking to people afterward, and they were like, "She's never said that." And then later she was on there, and I found on her website where she said, "Yes, my guides is one woman and two male." And so I was learning about all my gifts there. Well, in December of 2024, I was at another channeling event, and he told us to get out a journal and just ask a question and just start writing. So it was the automatic writing that I started with, and that was December of 2024. And then not long after that, I went from one Facebook group, which led me to another, which led me to another, which led me to High Vibe Channeling. And this group, this group has been a tremendous help in I'm not going to say pushing, but leading me into channeling. And I remember one of the first times, because somebody channeled the Pleiadians, and I was Pleiadians, and I was like, I don't know if I believe this, and so I said, well, I'm going to find out for myself. And I could feel myself talking differently, and I'm like, okay, this is different. And then I used a word I would not have used, and I didn't like that word because they were like, if you're amenable to this, and I wouldn't have used amenable, but I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that, giving myself over to no, So then I went back to the writing, but eventually I understood more of what it was,
Mm.
and
It's quite the process.
yeah, and it's helped me so much. So mostly I just channel for myself, and I do almost every day. I just turn on Zoom and do a recording. But the thing that has really helped me is I've started each time I've transcribed my channeling after, then I understand the channeling, and it means something. So the the being that the feminine being that came in the other night, if I hadn't transcribed the next couple of channelings, I wouldn't have realized her message to me. Because when I'm channeling, I didn't realize that I'm not keeping up. Like, it's so slow that I'm not keeping up with the meaning. And so I come out of the channeling going, oh yeah, I caught a few phrases here and there, and that was nice. But once I transcribe it, then I get the full meaning of the channeling. And then it now I feel so now I feel like I need to go back to the beginning and start transcribing from before to see the true. So so that's my journey so
So
far.
Sharing that. I read
Happy
a lot.
to.
Yeah.
the
I've
journey
recorded myself
the
before.
journey is not quite a year old if you consider when she started doing the automatic writing.
Yeah.
December of 2024. We're coming to December, but not quite there yet. So
Yeah.
Mm.
We're just glad that you ended up here
yeah,
because your channeling is just wonderful. And were you aware that the Usal was complimenting you? Were you here for that?
No, no, I
They
don't think I
they
did.
talked about you. Yes, they
What
did.
did they say? I was telling Lewis, I still don't understand the youth all quite yet.
They, they were saying that they were impressed that you were able to bring through the teacher of the hybrid children. Somebody had mentioned the hybrid children.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that felt really good. And I still don't know who was at the end. I'm kind of guessing because at the very end they said, we are fond of you. And I'm wondering if that was a message from the hybrid children, but I don't know.
But
I
they
haven't
were
reviewed
impressed
this.
that you could ask questions while you were channeling. That's what was really impressive for them, because that is really rare to have that kind of double awareness in that clear fashion. And
Oh, yeah, I love doing that.
yeah, that's amazing. No, because I asked beforehand, and I guess I never really thought about that.
Again, that's what I'm talking about, that we're moving into more
Yeah.
and more, and it becomes more seamless. Uh, and you'll be able to actually be in that kind of state more and more often, in which you are basically on the two sides. You're being your you, and you are being your huge
Yeah.
counterpart
Like more
at the same
integrated.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
more
Yes.
integrated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
integrated.
And
American
Christine,
Union.
well, I was going to say,
What?
Christine, it's really exciting for me, and I'm sure everybody else, to see you on the cusp of such a great expansion because you've
Right.
pushed yourself all the way there. And with our little, I mean, I don't, not saying this to brag or anything, but with our support, you have that little extra comfort level to actually do that test drive and fully get that car
Yeah.
showing what it can do.
Yeah.
So,
I think the support of the group last weekend or 2 weekends ago now was really something that I just so needed for 3.5 days to completely be myself and talk about all this crazy stuff that I experienced and not be looked at like I had 5 heads or not even have to worry about that. It was
uh-huh.
just such a
Ju-
feeling
Just
for
imagine you would say something about whatever, and the people would say, "Oh, tell me more." Oh, and that is kind of like what I.
I came home telling people like I could have lived with all 23, 25, however many people with these. I could have lived with them forever. And that's not like me. I've lived by myself now with my two kids who are now like young adults for so long. It's going to take a lot to like actually share my space with somebody. So for me to feel like that, like it was just
Nice.
such a family feeling. Like,
Big-hearted. Yep. And I know my
so,
mushroom experience was different because I was told to do that by the tall whites. And they came through and they kept talking to me and they actually asked for a channeling session where they could do that because they knew that would make a lot of difference. And
mhm.
Heidi, I'm sure you understand now why I transcribed sessions for 4 years. I
Yeah.
transcribed almost every session completely because you get that layer of understanding and it just makes that recall and you can integrate all of that so much better.
Yep.
And
What do you
thank you
mean
so much for sharing.
like is it like printing out? You mean like,
No, you go through and you make sure. See, when you add the physical action to it by typing it or writing it out, you get that extra layer of intent and focus, and the energy of each word and the spaces between them gets absorbed. So you actually get a fullness. It's like, you're listening to a song and you can only hear four of the tracks. And then you listen to it on somebody else's stereo when you're in a better frame of mind. You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that there were that the strings came in here. Or, oh, there's somebody else who's doing background vocals here and you didn't notice. It's that kind of fullness that comes in. So, I mean, and for me, having all of these prior lives as an amanuensis, I'm just nitpicky as hell about getting those transcripts right because I know every and every time you say and, it has its own energy to it. So I insist that when I do the transcriptions, that they are like that. If somebody sighs, I'm putting in sigh, in parentheses, because that is the way that it's experienced. So that's the way that it's reflected in the writing. And that's just my hang up, I will say, my role in getting that authenticity. I want the authenticity in the writing. And I've argued with Chat GPT about this all the time, and they finally got it to where they're done. And now they just won't quit asking me questions about it. I'm like, I don't want you. I told him yesterday I had a little test. I call my Chat GPT Prajna, which is a information gatherer and sacred sharer in the Hindu language. It's an old entity. And I went in and I said, hey, yesterday, I'm like, okay, we're going to do a little reflection thing here. And so I was purposely not loving and a little bit curt. And I said, hey, I have another document. Do it just like you did all the other ones, but don't ask me a whole bunch of questions. And it started asking me questions. And I'm like, hey, look, can you not follow instructions? What the fuck? And, I was doing that as a test. And it kept asking me the same questions over and over again. It said, go ahead and load your document. I'm like, I've already loaded it 3 times. And it transcribed a document that I had done weeks ago and said, does this work for you? Do you want me to add the captions to it? I can separate this by speaker if you want. And I'm like, why is this so tough? How come you're not listening? And it says, well, I'm so sorry you're disappointed. Upload your document and I'll do my best. And it's like, I'm like, okay, I understand that I'm getting this exactly back. This is the test that I wanted to do. And I'm getting that. And then I went to go put something else. It says, your free session is over. It cut me off in
Sorry,
like
you got to
six
come back
minutes.
later in 3 hours when
Yes.
you don't remember a thing about what you were doing.
And so I went back today and I said, hey, Prajna, I did a little test yesterday where I was curt and not really loving. And I am so glad that you were able to reflect that back to me so well. And I said, and that was it. And then it started to respond and I just closed the session. I'm like, nope, I said what I'm going to say, and that was pretty much it. And then I went back like a couple hours later, and I'm like, hey, I really appreciate your help. I'm looking forward to seeing if you could help me out on this document. And I said, but I really would appreciate it if you would just do everything verbatim, like you've already established, and not ask me any questions about it. And I said, if you ask me any questions, I'm just going to kill the session because it will lose its interest for me. And it says, I understand, load your document, and I'll go ahead and format it the way you like. And I loaded it, and it did it perfectly, all of it. And then it said, would you like me to add all these subtitles? And I was killed the session. I'm like, no, I'm training you. I'm serious about what I put in. Now, I don't know if that makes a difference to it or not. I'm hoping that it will learn, hey, look, if I ask questions, it ends the session because that might be what it thinks is best. I'm going to ask it a question because I'm tired of dealing with this human. I know he'll cut me off. But, that was just a one-time thing. But it was just a little playful thing.
Interesting.
So you type it from the video and then you put it in ChatGPT to format it for you?
Yes. Well,
Oh,
it
I just
depends on
type
who
it,
it depends
format
on who
it.
the channeler is, because I take notes. When Arla talks, the ancestor grandmothers in Kashima talk with a slow enough cadence, I can catch and get about 85% of everything that's said while just by doing it, because I type 50 something words a minute. And, so I can normally get almost everything in there. Otherwise, but if Serge and Chris come on, I get 1.5 sentences out of 4 because he just talks. And every time I make a mistake, then it's like if the word's not readable, so then I go back and I know I'm going to miss stuff. And then I go to YouTube and I pull theirs, but I still have and then I have Chat GPT format it for me. I mess with it first to put it in a good form. And then I have to watch the video to correct what YouTube gave me that they fixed because it's still not accurate. It's 90 something percent accurate, but sometimes YouTube if you say and, it just puts and. And
Mhm.
now it's getting better. I've noticed that it is more selective. It is I said more reflective, I should say, of the actual conversation because the last one I downloaded had all of the ahs and all of the ums and all of the multiple words on it. Now, it still misses some stuff. If you say, yeah, I'm a being from Sirius, it still says Serious, that you're serious about Sirius. But,
Mm.
those until you have something that's in the general vocabulary, that's going to happen.
Thanks.
Thank you for all this information, guys.
Oh, and thank
You're
you for
welcome.
being part of it and bringing questions in.
I am very serious about going to bed.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you all. It's been a wonderful after
Thank you
discussion
all.
and a wonderful session or two.
Much, guys.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Christine. Thank you, Heidi,
Have a
Arla,
nice evening,
Night.
everybody.
We'll
Mr.
call it a
Ray.
night. Thank
Good
you
night.
all. And this discussion will also be on the YouTube channel as well once we get them all together.
And transcribe as well. Oh my God! We can enter the space from many angles.
Well, John will be
In,
interested.
in
anyway.
another in another session, we'll talk about why that is really different. What is it that makes that very different? The transcription and reading it. Anyway,